In March 1994, a furious mob descended on a preschool in the Aclimação neighborhood of São Paulo. They completely ransacked the building, destroying classrooms and forcing the owners to flee their home under heavy threats of death. The crowd had been fed a horrific story by local newspapers and television stations. The headlines claimed the owners of the Escola were running a child abuse ring, using the school's transport van to host orgies and consume drugs. But every single accusation was false. The accused were completely innocent. The crimes were fabricated from thin air, and no abuse of any kind ever took place. How does a modern society manage to carry out a permanent, devastating sentence against innocent citizens without a single shred of physical evidence? The entire situation started with a routine misunderstanding. Two mothers noticed physical marks on their 4-year-old children and went to a local police station to report their suspicions. Medical examinations would later reveal a completely mundane reality. The marks were simply common toddler ailments, severe diaper rash, and issues related to constipation that were tragically misinterpreted as physical trauma. The case landed on the desk of Police Delegate Adelson Lemos. Standard protocol for allegations involving minors requires a quiet, protective investigation to gather facts and shield the children. Lemos ignored this process entirely and immediately called a press conference. Instead of verifying claims, he presented unproven suspicions as fact to eager reporters. Relatives and critics noted this institutional negligence seemed driven by a desire for a quick burst of fame rather than a search for the truth. When an official authority figure stands at a podium validating a rumor, the public takes notice. They interpret the accusation not as a question, but as an undeniable state-sanctioned fact. Reporters swarmed the story. Journalist Valmir Salaro first took the delegates' unverified claims and broadcast them to millions of viewers on national evening news. This diagram illustrates incriminación mediática, or media incrimination. Major news networks repeat police rumors as established facts, completely bypassing the legal system to broadcast guilt directly to the public. Meanwhile, the actual physical investigation crawled along, taking weeks for official medical exams to be completed. Those exams confirmed a total lack of evidence of any abuse. The police inquiry quietly fell apart. The delegate was removed. The files were officially archived, and the state issued 0 indictments against the school's owners. Objective facts move slowly. Sensationalism moves instantly. By the time the legal system caught up to clear the names of the accused, the mob had already destroyed their lives. The human toll was absolute. Paula Milhim and Mauricio Alvarenga, a partner in the school and its driver, saw their marriage dissolve under the pressure. Mauricio developed severe panic syndrome and fled, terrified of being recognized on the street. Paula survived by cleaning bathrooms and working as a receptionist, struggling with profound depression. The primary owners of the school, Sida and Ikushiro Shimada, spent their final years trapped inside their home, paralyzed by panic attacks triggered simply by the sound of a television or radio. Sida passed away from cancer in 2004, and Ikushiro died of a massive heart attack 10 years later. The damage even passed to the next generation. Their son, Ricardo, who was 14 during the scandal, was forced to live in absolute anonymity. As an adult, he kept his exact city of residence a secret, just to escape the lingering stigma of a crime that never happened. Surviving a trial by media creates a cruel paradox. You keep your physical freedom, but you lose your identity, your livelihood, and your future. While the victims lived out their days in ruin, accountability for the perpetrators moved at a glacial pace. The journalist who first broadcast the claims waited 28 years to issue a public apology, and the state spent decades filing legal appeals to delay paying the damages ordered by the courts. Legal scholars use cases like this to illustrate a concept known as the syndrome de Dom Cosmoro. This syndrome is a psychological phenomenon named after a classic Brazilian novel where a husband's obsessive jealousy leads him to assume guilt without evidence. This diagram illustrates how the syndrome operates in the justice system. An institution constructs a rigid narrative based purely on preconceived prejudice and then frantically hunts for non-existent proof to justify it, entirely ignoring the humanity of the accused in the process. Courts eventually ordered the major television networks and the government to pay millions in indemnities for their roles in the disaster. But because of the endless legal delays, the original victims died long before seeing full financial compensation. A state apology and a check cannot reverse time. Legal exoneration is ultimately powerless when the court of public opinion has already carried out a life sentence.